wasn't listed. So this sentence should be about you and your own shoe size. Don't just list your shoe size. Tell me where in the box and whisker plot it falls. So I would say mine is in the upper part of the data. The next question is about mean. It says Letitia is determined to do well in school this year. Her goal is to maintain at least an 85% average or mean in all of her courses. Letitia started her history class with 2 scores on tests, 72 and 89. Confirm that the mean of these 2 scores is 80 and a half. Show your work. So in order to do this, we would add the 2 together. So we do 72 plus 89 and then divide both of that by 2. And that equals 80.5. So yes, it is 80.5. It says then Letitia's third score was 90. Use her previous scores from part A to figure out her mean now. Be sure to show your work. So now we're going to do 72 plus 89 plus 90 and divide all of that by 3. And when we do that, we get an 83.3, or I think 0.6 repeating percent. So she's still not quite to where she wants to be, but she's pretty close. The next set of questions are diamond problems. You have to figure out what the missing one is. Remember, if we look over here in our key, that the 2 numbers on the right and the left, to get the bottom number, we add them. To get the top number, we multiply them. So in part A, I would do 6 plus 11. So the bottom number is going to be 17. I'm not going to write in the diamond because it would make it too small. And the top number is going to be 66 because 6 times 11. Part B, negative 4 plus, or negative 1 plus 4 is positive 3. And in the top, it's going to be negative 4. Make sure you do put them in the right part of your diamonds. Part C, I have to figure out what multiplied together to get 6. And negative 2, it has to be times a negative, so it's times negative 3. And then negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. For negative 8 and 7, I have to figure out what 2 numbers add together to get 7, but multiply together to get negative 8. So in order for it to multiply together to get negative 8, it's going to be 8 and negative 1. And then 8 plus negative 1 is going to be 7. The bottom ones, we start to get into a little fractions. So 1/2 plus 1/2 is actually 1. And then if I multiply them, I get 1 over 4. Because 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. For F, I have 1/3 plus 3/4, which after I find a common denominator is going to be 13 over 12. Or if you put 1 and 1/12, that would be fine as well. And then the top is going to be 3 over 12, which equals 1/4. So G, it's X and X. So it wanted us to show what we would get if we were doing that. So for the bottom, we should have 2X, or X plus X. The top, you should have X times X, or X squared. And for H, it had A and B. So the bottom would be A plus B, and the top would be A times B. The next set of problems you needed to compute without using a calculator. So to do these problems, we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So for part A, it's negative 15 plus 7. So I'm going to use my rule of different signs I subtract. So I get 8. Oh, not sure how I did that. Get 8. And then since 15 is bigger, it's going to be negative. 8 minus negative 21, I'm going to rewrite it as addition. 8 plus 21, which is going to equal 29. 6 times negative 8 is 48, and it's negative because different signs are negative when you're multiplying. Negative 9 plus negative 13, I have same signs, so I'm going to get 22, and it's going to be negative because they're both negative. Negative 50, I have to change it minus 30 to plus negative 30. So when I do that, I get negative 80 as my answer. 3 minus negative 9, I make it 3 plus 9, which is 12. Negative 75 minus negative 75, rewrite it as negative 75 plus 75, are opposites. When I add them, I get 0. Negative 3 plus 6, different signs I subtract. So it's positive 3 because 6 is bigger. 9 plus negative 14, I get negative 5 because 14 minus 9 is 5. 14 is bigger. 28 minus negative 2, I have to rewrite it as addition. So I get 28 plus 2. So the final answer is 30. Negative 3 plus negative 2 plus 5. Well, negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5, plus 5 is going to give me 0. And then 3 plus 2 plus 5 is going to be positive 5 plus 5, which is going to give me 10. The next problem is area of rectangles. So it says below is shown in the middle of the rectangle is the area. For each figure, find the missing length or width. So to do this, I'm just using division. So I'm going to divide because it's the opposite of multiplication. And I know to find the area of a rectangle, I do base times height. So for A, I'm going to do 60 divided by 8 and get 7.5 inches. If you don't put the units on it, it is incorrect. If it would be like going to the store and saying that I need 7.5 of wood and not knowing how many, whether I need inches, centimeters, meters, feet. So you want to make sure you always have the units. So for B, I'm going to do 180 divided by 15, which is going to give me 12 meters. And for C, 231 divided by 14 is going to give me 16.5 centimeters. The next problem, I'm going to compute without using a calculator. So I'm going to do different problems. So the first one is 3/7 divided by 2/3. I'm going to keep change flip. So I'm going to get 3 over 7 times 3 over 2, which is going to give me 9/14. So for this problem, I'm going to divide it without the decimal points and then put them back in. So I need to actually move it over 2 spaces anyway. So I'm really doing 120 divided by 4. So I'm going to get 30 as my answer. For C, the word of means multiplication. So I'm doing 11 over 4 times 3 over 7. So I'm going to get 33 over 28. Or you can write it as 1 and 5/28. Either way is fine. 4.16 times 2/10. So I'm going to multiply 416 times 2 and get, let's see, 12. I carry that 1, 2, 3, 832. And then since there's a total of 3 numbers past the decimal point, I'm going to move it in. So the final answer is 0.832. The next question is asking about Letitia and her scores. So we're going to add some more to her scores. She's still trying to get that 85%. So she got an 85% on her test today. So let's find her new average. So we're going to do 72 plus 89 plus 90 plus 85 and divide that whole thing by 4, and we ended up with an 84%. So she's getting closer to that goal of 85. Problem 38. Consider this data: 22, 15, 30, 51, 27, 33, and 19. Most of you remembered what a stem and leaf plot was and how to put the numbers in the data. A couple of you forgot a couple pieces. One of the things is that you list out stems in order even if they don't appear in your data. So I'll show you that in just a moment. And every single person forgot to make a key. So you want to make sure to let people know that your data in your stem and leaf plot is whole numbers, decimals, whatever it is that you're plotting. So I know that the lowest tenth number is 1. So my stem is going to start at 1. So I'm going to list 2, 3. I am going to list a 4 even though it's not in the data, and then list 5. So then I can say, okay, there's a 15. So I'm going to put a 5 here. There's a 22 and a 27. So a 2 and a 7. Oh, I forgot about the 19, so I'm going to put a 9 right there. Then next to the 3, I'm going to put a 0 and a 3. Next to the 4, there won't be anything, but I still need it as one of my stems. And then next to the 5 is a 1. So now I have all my data. Now I need to make sure I make a key. So the key can be simply the first number in your data. So I know 1, 5 equals 15. So as opposed to it being 1.5. So making sure people know. The next part of this said, find the mean and the median. So for the mean, you just add all the numbers together. We get a total of 197 divided by their 7. So the mean was 28.14. And then the median, if we rewrite the numbers in order, so I did 15, 19, 22, 27, 30, 33, and 51. And then I just kind of decided, I know I'm not going to use the data again. My middle number ended up being 27. So then the next question says, if the value 51 was replaced with a 33, so if we were to change this to a 33 and it not be a 51 anymore, which measure of central tendency, mean or median, would change and which would not? So the median's not going to change because that 33 is going to be now the new biggest number in the data set. So the median will be exactly the same, but the mean will change. So that's what you would just say. So the mean will change, but the median will stay the same. And the reason is the mean will be lower because you're adding less. So you want to make sure you explain yourself that yes, the mean's going to be lower because we're going to add a lower number. So next question was a little bit different. It's asking us about this map of Montana and California. And it's asking us to estimate what the area would be. And to do this, you basically count the different spaces to figure out how much the area is. So when I counted, and this is a total approximate, I gave you guys credit for just being close, I got 44 units squared for Montana and 48 units squared for California. So I got that California was bigger. In the explain section, this is where most people went wrong. If you go back to the original problem, it says explain how you estimated the area of each state, not how you know California is bigger. So most people wrote how they knew California is bigger. I was looking for how you did it. So I did it is I counted all the whole boxes, all the whole shaded boxes, and then estimated with the not full boxes. So basically I counted the halves and kind of pieced them together to get a good estimate. But that's what I was looking for in this explain section. I wasn't trying to get you to explain why you think California is bigger, but how you did your estimation. The last question is a pattern question, and it said the pattern below is composed of nested squares. So part A, draw the next figure in the pattern. So most people did this correctly. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a square, and then draw a square inside, and then you want to label it. So the last one was 4, 3, then 3, 2, and 2, 1. So I know that the outside is going up by 1. So the outside of my poorly drawn square is going to be 5. The inside is going to be 4. And this was like shaded in. Okay. Then it says find the area of the shaded region for the figure you drew. So in order to find the shaded region, I need to take away the non-shaded region. So I need to find the area of the whole square and then subtract the area of the inside square. So to find the area of the outside square, I did 5 times 5 minus the inside square, which is 4 times 4. So I ended up getting 25 minus 16, which is 9 units squared. So make sure that you have copied down all the ones that you got incorrect and you're resubmitting it to